Hi guys, welcome to another coffee chat. So this is my monthly vlog. Hi, I'm Maren. I'm the designer and go for everything at Knitterista. And normally I talk about my work here, what I just have over my needles, what's going to be released next, what kind of plans I have for the future, things like that. Today, because it's the first of this year and I also feel like it's a bit overdue, I want to talk about where I stand. Mic drop. So quite honestly, this is actually my second try because the first one made me cry quite a lot. I'm a very emotional person, I'm super sensitive, I want to discuss things in detail, I want to be fair, I want to balance out the good and the bad, all the kind of grays. And you know, today's, I think we still call it cancel culture, right? It's actually really giving me a lot of anxiety, especially for doing something like that. So let me say this first. Comments are welcome. I happily talk with you, chat with you. But please be kind, okay? Know that I'm a person, I'm a real person. And I try hard not to hurt you. Please try hard on your side too. And I promised myself that I really want to stay true to myself, speak my mind, even if I might have a kind of unpopular opinion. For me, that's really important because I feel like with today's social climate, I think we can say it like that, right? We lost a bit the freedom of speech. And what we definitely lost, that hurts even more, is to be able to disagree and to be able to agree to disagree. So I don't mind if you have a different opinion, truly. I really don't. In fact, I often find that very interesting. It's very boring to talk to people who have exactly the same opinion like you do, because then it's yeah, and then it's done, you know? Not much more to talk about. So now let me introduce myself a bit more, because I feel that's very important. I'm German. I was born here in Germany, sorry. So for most parts, we know that my family was also more or less born here in Germany, you know, with the Second World War, people flew. So my grandparents from my mother's side come from a place that used to be Germany, it's now Poland. My grandparents from my father's side, I think my grandmother has always been in the north of Germany. My grandfather came from the south of Germany. But he has also been an orphan, and there's not so much we know about his history. I did a DNA heritage test one day that was really cool. I'm super in love with that one. It showed that actually 40% are from the, today we would say, Balkan area. It's also the part where Roma and Sinti, that's how we call it today. Earlier days you would say gypsies, some still like to call them gypsies, it's very complicated. So yeah, that's a really big part of my heritage, makes a lot of sense. I'm one of those who has not only respect, but really love for the whole creativity this kind of folks bring into the world. It's a very European topic, how hard it is for them to integrate into the modern world, and some do better. Sinti usually do better, and Roma struggle a lot. They're kind of the poorest person here in Europe. So that's a very European topic. It also brings me to another thing I want to talk about. I feel mostly European. Okay, my DNA heritage also said other nearly 40% are more like from the England area. I think there was another word for it, but sorry, I'm not good at this kind of geographic maps, which is kind of where Spain and Portugal match. North of what used to be Russia, I think you say in English, it's Litauen in German. Then we have 1% South America from Vietnam. Yay! So I really would love to know what kind of guys managed to go that far away. So it's so cool. Okay, so that's about my heritage. I believe all of us have some kind of mix-up map. I'm German, I feel European, also of course feel like part of the West, whatever that is exactly. For me it's Europe and North America, and that's our mail delivery guy. Cool, awesome, thanks! So I'm interested in all of you, in all of your cultures, all of your countries. It's also a lot, so I don't want to pretend that I do understand all of you. I don't even understand German most of the time. Ever since I started with Knitterista, I'm kind of living in two worlds, and the one world is here at home, my real life in Cologne, and the other world is online, and not only social media but also coaching programs. Knitterista's world is dominated by US people. That's kind of nice. There are also a bunch of Canadians and some other Europeans, but yeah, most of them are actually US, and often feels like just the US people are kind of demanding that people, take a stand and form an ally, things like that. So I want to start talking about some of the topics I see lately a lot on my social media channels. Try to explain why I usually don't dig into that kind of talk. Let's start with all the horrible shootings you have. Yeah, the problematic with the gun rules. We simply don't have that topic in Europe. It's not part of my real life. I find it very disturbing to watch in the news, to hear from you guys, sometimes even personal. But it's also a topic I can't dig in, who am I? I don't live in your country. I don't have that kind of problems. Mostly I feel like I don't have a right to take a stand there. So I just shut up and can't tell you my heart is with you. It's horrible. The same goes for abortion, and that's another thing that we have rules in Germany for abortion. It's generally allowed. There is a system behind it. It's not taken lightly. It's taken in a responsible way. It all feels very organized, calm, and kind of suitable for this, of course, highly emotional topic. I've never been in a place where I would have to do that. However, I'm definitely pro-abortion. I think it's a very important right for women. Quite frankly, I don't think that's isolated. There's still a guy who would become a dad. There's a kid that would be born, and there's a lot of stuff to consider. I'm a mom. I got very late a mom, and I really, even this late in life, you know, having all the good stuff, being married to a really good guy, awesome dad, having enough money to live, being able to provide a decent life for our son. I struggled with becoming a mom. It's a big change, and change our life completely, like it does for every parent. So it's not, it's not an easy thing to become a parent, and I do believe there are circumstances where it's better if you don't. There's a big Black Lives Matter movement, of course, and that also feels a lot like a US American topic. Let me say this first, of course, for me too, Black Lives Matters. I see that there is systemic racism, especially in the US. I see that in the way you vote, police force, all this kind of things that get debated. I do believe that it is still hard to live in the US as a how do you call it? Sorry, African American. It's not a question. You definitely have the same rights. So it's also not a German topic, and there are countries in Europe who have a similar history than the US, who used black people as slaves. It's not exactly the same, but it's closer than what's going on here in Germany. I'm German. I don't have to tell you that Germans don't have problems with racism. It's we will be forever the bad guys in history. It's a hard heritage to grow up with and live with. I won't tell you that Germans are always been great to black people. Of course not. They're still not. But the German problems are actually in South Africa, and have all to deal with the topic of apartheid to deal with, and I don't know how, quite frankly. It's out of my reach, and it's awful. Okay, so I feel like those are, oh no, sorry, there's one more. That's a hard one because it's very close, very deep, integrated into the fiber arts community, and that is the topic of body positivity. I feel like this kind of topic is also very different discussed in Europe. Also know that Europeans are, Europeans are, oh, that's a right word. See, it's very problematic sometimes saying the right things. Europeans are slimmer, so they do get fatter too, but not as much as the people in the US. It's been more the discussion about health here, and I feel like people are not as offended. I want everybody to feel good with themselves, just like they are. So, and that's kind of the baseline for body positivity. I'm here for it. My body changed over the years too, quite a lot. I grew up as a very skinny kid. I had, as a teenager, I got bullied a bit by the guys for not having curves. So it's kind of more like a, what is it, unisex body. Not even sure that is a word. Sometimes I make them up. Okay, sorry. Not sure what's the right term there. So ever since I became a mom, also COVID did its toll on my body too. And I definitely grew, gained weight, got more feminine curves, and I think I always had a tendency for a pear-shaped body, but if you're very slim, it's very, it's not super defined. So today I have slim shoulders still because they don't change for all of us much. I think my bust is in a medium range.
You know, guys, the only time I ever had some kind of significant boobs was when I breastfeed my son for 6 months. And also they already kind of exploded when I was pregnant. It was a very strange experience for me. I'm kind of glad that's over. So I do and I did forget most of it. It's a vague memory, just like, you know, birth is kind of a haze. We all have that, thank goodness. We forget about all the pain and everything. I remember it not being fun. I'm a fan of it. I'm glad there are now a bit, you know, they used to be apples, now they are more like a hanging fruit, but it's okay, it's still an okay area. We should talk about this on social media in public. Man, it's hard. Alright, so the waist is a bit, you know, that's what you have when you have a pear shape. It's kind of good. You have a defined waist. I love that part. And then comes the part I'm not super fan of, but it's still okay. I don't think that much about my body, but it's a bit more, a lot more of an ass than it used to be. Ass. But, sorry, shouldn't say ass. Alright, so just that we are clear where I stand, where you stand. So yeah, body positivity, so everybody should feel alright with themselves. That's quite important to be a happy person. Still, I'm a bit worried about the discussions I hear from the US, but again, I don't live in the US, I'm not there, I don't know how it is to talk to a doctor, how your doctors talk to you. So yeah, it's a bit complicated to take a stand there with all the consequences. Simply because I do have a bit of a different point of view on this and do live in different circumstances. Okay, I feel like that's kind of it. What I feel like was a lot discussed in our fiber arts community and what I see comes from the US. I don't feel that much part of it. Now just, you know, talk about a bit about the basics, politics and religion. So politics is something very different in Germany too. It's more like a duty you have as a civilian. It's all like, you know, whatever you know about Germany, it's always the same. It's very organized, it's calm, a bit boring, serious. So voting is a duty you have as a civilian. That's kind of the way we see it. So saying out loud what I vote is really strange for me, because usually I don't do that. Sometimes you discuss this with your friends or your family. Of course there are people who talk about it in the pub, but mostly I feel like we really don't. So I vote for some years now, didn't always. I vote Green. The Green Party is considered, from all the left-wing parties, the most centered, and that's how I feel. I have a tendency to the left, but I don't like the extremes. I feel like it all has to be so in balance. Strong topic on mitigating climate change, reducing carbon emissions, developing clean energy, right at my heart. It's super important for me. If you want me to label, I hate labels. I'm an environmentalist. There are some other things, like I do like how they try to bring in balance social aspects also with financials. It feels like they're kind of waiting, but always trying to innovate the ways and trying to find ways that are, you know, push into directions I want to see it pushed, but they don't do it without considering all the things. Yeah, so it's complicated. It is, and I feel like they're good, taking a good stand. Last but not least, they're very pro-European, and there are other parties in Germany that are more like nationalist. Getting cold shower of it. So yeah, pro-European. I said that in the beginning, right? I do feel European. I want to have politics that try to align Europe, go further, and try to shape strong international alliances, and that's also part of the Green Party. You might know them ever since our government changed the last time, because they are part of the government now again, and the foreign minister is from the Green Party. It's Annalena Baerbock. You probably have seen her on the news. And the same goes for the vice chancellor. So they were double pack. And that's another thing I loved, that it was not all around it about this woman, but really having both genders working together. That's another thing. Brings me to another topic, and that's feminism. Again, another thing where I'm with the baseline of it, with the intention that women have the same rights than men. All genders have the same rights. I don't see that problems get solved for women only by women. So we all need to do that together. Especially when you have the family things, you need the guys more in than ever. But in all the other topics too, you can't do that without men. We need to work together to make this a better place, to evolve and find solutions. I want to say that too, because I also see that often in the fiber arts community, that people kind of walk through my door and say, I'm a feminist. And I'm like, okay. I don't like that kind of behavior. Please just introduce yourself with your name and some things that make you special. I will be nice, some personal things. Another thing is, I have to say that too, guys, fiber arts community has 95% are women. The other 5 are gay men. And it's kind of really absurd having this women rights topics among women. What do you expect? When somebody says, no, fuck women. Not for that. I don't want to. Please make some sense. That doesn't make sense to me to have this kind of discussions only with women when the most important other counterpart is missing. So if you want to talk with me about women's rights, okay, fine, we can do that, but please bring your husband. If you have one. Shall we go on with gender? Gender. All right. That's has gotten really complicated. So first of all, and I don't speak about that a lot because it's actually not me, it's my family, but I want to say that here openly too. I do have a gay cousin, and I spent my teenage years a lot with him. It was awesome. I also have an aunt that used to be my uncle. I don't speak from personal experience, but I kind of gotten to know close the problems some people have and the problematic about gender. I do believe that we get born as we get born. We get born as heterosexual, bi, gay, whatever, you know. I don't think that you can change that. I guess there are some nutcases who still believe you can change that, drive me crazy. And why would you? You know, just be happy. Try to be happy, however you got born. If you get born in the wrong body, it's getting super complicated. My heart goes out to every one of you who has that kind of struggle in life, because it's a really hard thing to live with. I do struggle with some other things too, like how many people say they are bisexual these days. just had this discussion with my husband yesterday. Said, you know what? There are 50% that at some US universities, 50% of the students think they are bisexual. And I was like, yeah, well, isn't that normal? So that's another thing I want to say out loud. We all have parts that are kind of considered more feminine, more masculine. Quite honestly, my marriage to my very gentle husband is often a mashup. You know, he's a very gentle guy, so he kind of has tendencies for what you would consider feminine, and I'm the opposite. I'm actually the one who always wants to watch Fast and the Furious. We both like to watch Mission Impossible. Just to give you one fact, okay? one fun fact. So I kind of feel like it's normal that, not really when you're a teenager maybe, but definitely when you study in the 20s, it's kind of time to test out and have fun with it. And I started in art school, what do you expect? So I kissed girls, it didn't feel right. That's kind of the end of the story. I would have gone further, but yeah, just didn't feel right. I was annoyed by the fuss off. Can you please make it a bit more normal, a bit, cool a bit down about it, see it a bit more down to earth, like, humans are like that. Okay, gonna check if it still records. So, gender also brings me to my hometown. Let's talk about Cologne, because Cologne is actually very gay. I feel like the LGBTQ+, I hope that was right, community is super big here. It's very fun. I love it. It's somehow the only place I have ever been where I feel like gay couples are holding hands in complete freedom. Drag queens are riding the train and nobody watches. Doesn't even take a look, it's kind of just the normal part of our everyday life. So Cologne is a very old city, although most of the buildings got destroyed during the Second World War. Really sad. You see that, it's not beautiful. It's beautiful inside, the people who live here are very beautiful. The architecture isn't. There are of course nice buildings, but most of it isn't super. It's also not super, it doesn't look very European. Some parts do, but not many. You hear a lot of different languages, you see a lot of different faces, different skin colors. It's all part of the part of living in a big city, in a European city, living here, and it's amazing. This is how I want to live, and this is also how I see Knitterista. You are all welcome. I don't care, and I do, that's kind of problematic because I know that's a trigger sentence. So how do I say that on the one hand, I don't care because I love you all and beauty comes from the inside. And actually nobody of us chooses our skin color, our eye color, our hair color, whatever. That's one thing. On the other hand, I think it is really interesting to have all these different people here and all this diversity, and I would love to hear your own story. I hope you get respected as who you are. I hope you don't get bullied because you look a certain way. Look, I got bullied, I think, my whole life in school. Kids can be cruel. Adults too. People are. It's part of being human, is unfortunately also being cruel. As you can see, there's nothing super strange looking at me. I don't have red hair, I've never been fat, I don't have dark skin color. Whatever it is that you usually hear about, I don't have it, but I do have ADHD, which means that I hurt, and you can see it like crazy. So ever since I understood that I have ADHD, the whole bullying thing makes a whole lot of sense. Because if you can see that you hurt somebody, it's more fun, you know, it's so much more fun. It gives you so much more power. I still hate those people. I know how hard it is to get bullied. I really know that one up personal. I generally still have a very naive heart. I don't know why, but it stays naive. So I do believe whoever comes to me is a nice person. And I don't check on that, you know. If you come to want to test knit for me, I don't check if you are cool. If you are cool on the test knit, I'm gonna throw you out. That's kind of the way I deal with this kind of things. I hear other designers talking about this, you know, give me your social media handles and I check if you are racist. Are you crazy? This is kind of this social atmosphere I don't like, you know. Checking everyone out. If you are with me and if you're not with me, you're against me. That's also another thing I really don't like. Sorry, I had to get that out too because it makes me really angry. Right, religion. Let's take a complete other topic because I need a break here. So I know some are very religious, see a lot of accounts that already have that in their link in bio. I want to say up front, again, you're welcome here no matter if you believe in something or you don't believe in something, if you believe in gods, if you are Jewish, Muslim, you know, again, you are welcome. I am an artist. And the reason why I don't speak about religion is, first of all, it's not a topic in my life. The other thing is that I had religion as a topic in school. And I do remember that very well because it was a super important moment for me to understand some things. Me being an artist, there was another guy who was also an artist. We had fierce discussions about religion and all on the logic waveline. See, and one day our teacher came and said, "Guys, we have to talk." And one girl in our class was very, very religious. I think she was even Catholic. Not normal in North Germany. Most are Presbyterian. And she said that these discussions really hurt her and it's hard for her to attend this class. And made me realize, and I also see that now, that the way artists just talk about religion and kind of, you know, dissect everything can be very superstitious. I do get that it's hard for somebody who is faith in God or higher power, that it is really hard to listen to this. So that's, and I don't want that, okay? I don't want to be superstitious. I'm not. I don't believe that I'm better. I just lost my faith in my teenage years. And it has never been strong either. I did grow up Presbyterian. I did have questioning and the other stuff too, but I did lost it, and I think I never missed it really. But I also want you to keep your faith. If you are religious, if you believe in God, Allah, please do so. I might want to add is that I'm against the power of that certain religious institution hold, and the way they abuse it. But that's a topic for another day. And it's also a really harsh topic. When I did start crying last time, I talked about it, so we skipped that part. Alright, I feel like there is a demand inside the fiber arts community that designers should design for everybody. I don't believe that it's possible. I also don't believe that it makes sense. So while you are welcome at my space, I'm probably not the right designer for all of you. I can't be. I described my body to you and the experience I have, and that's also my starting point for designing. It is for everyone. Yes, there are people who are studied fashion design, are very professional, come from the fast fashion world mostly then, because they have more knowledge about this kind of things, are able to create for all bodies. Still, I believe they still have their kind of point of view, and their point of view usually starts with their own eyes and their own feelings about their bodies. Now this, I'm not that highly educated in that certain areas, so I definitely start with my own body. Then we can go a bit up and a bit down. It just is very hard for me to imagine how it feels to live with a body that has a lot more body fat. It is what it is. I also believe that all of us are attracted to kind of the same but different. If everything goes right with you, if you love yourself, you will probably fall in love, feel good with people who are very similar to you but have a little bit of a difference, because you also need that spice to be interested in. I do believe I can be a good designer for all of you who are, have a little bit more than me and a little bit less than me, who also have a pear shape. If you don't have a pear shape and are, kind of able to make this transition in your mind, that's also fine. I wanted to bring that point because this size inclusivity topic is also another one where I agree on the baseline. I agree that especially knitting gives you the opportunity to knit for your own body, however the body is. I also believe that honestly all of us have a responsibility to make it happen for our own body. If you have a body that is kind of out of the norm, and I know you know that, if it is the case, you should learn about how to get in a waist if you want to have it. If you want to, show this kind of part of your body more, you should understand how to do bust darts if you have significant breasts that kind of need that extra shaping. I feel like it is your responsible to be good to yourself, to be good to your body. That's part of body positivity too. As you all know, I don't have any garments yet. I want to get started with it, but I do think a lot about these topics, and it's a very hard one. There's also another part you will hear quite a lot. It is important to throw in the bucket of this discussion, and that is money. Most designers struggle to make a living out of it. I didn't even start to earn money with this, okay? I'm still at the point where I try to reach sustainability. It sucks. And having worked in the creative industry for over a decade, I know that I'm a worthy designer. I did study it, and I never had a big problem to pay my bills. Although I never get rich, but if you sign up for art school, you don't do that to get rich, okay? Because I hear that a lot, the rich designers, fuck you. Nobody, except some lucky people, but even they didn't get into this business to get rich. Having said that, and also being a bit disappointed by this kind of topic, I want to throw in that there aren't much possibilities to educate yourself, to get the possibility to write patterns for everyone. Of course, those people need to earn money who offer the education. Again, money topic. They deserve it. But writing knitting patterns is selling the patterns is at such a low point from a business point of view that it's super hard. You need to sell a lot of patterns to get somewhere. There's really no guarantee at all, not even from a pure business side, because usually that's the case. If you work as a graphic designer and you work for private people, same problems usually. But if you get into the business to business area, there are real jobs you can pay your bills with. That's not the case in the fiber arts industry. I don't see it. If you work as a designer and write a pattern for a knitting magazine, you also get paid shit. Because of this facts, it's hard for me to make the decision to invest into that kind of knowledge, gaining that kind of knowledge. And I know a lot of other designers struggle with it too. I do understand the frustration coming from the fast fashion industry, trying to do now fashion on your own, still lacking the stuff you need for it. But please understand that the struggle is on the designer side real too. Again, I would like to have a different kind of discussion, a different tone in this discussion. I would like to have a spiral up. Now it's a spiral down, because whenever these topics comes on the table, it's super frustrating. It feels shit for all parties, and it's a lot of kind of feels like hate in there and frustration too. I would like to see some positive solutions. So the way I see it is, if you are somebody who is more in the higher sizes, wherever you exactly are, and you have a knack for designing, please start designing. We need more fat designers. People like Jacqueline says, like, they make the difference. They do. I actually would encourage you to skip the small sizes. Just leave them out. Whatever you can't imagine, because you have probably the same problem. You know what happens with your body, what kind of things you need to make good clothes for yourself. And I bet you have a problem imagining how it is with an extra small size body. And no body fat, just down to the bone. So skip it. That's fair. That's kind of the creative freedom I would like to see. After all, it's called fiber arts. So it's art. I should have creative freedom. For myself, I'm not sure yet, to be honest. I think about actually sending a first garment design in for a knitting magazine, because that would give me support from a very good tag editor, Kate Anthony, without having to pay for it. That would be a time investment, but not a money investment. That's one idea I have in mind for myself. So I keep you posted on it. We'll see. Another thing about money is I already announced that on my newsletter. I'm going to pivot this year because I need to earn money. That's one thing. But also because having the focus on knitting patterns only gives me a lot of stress and frustration and anxiety, as you can imagine, what I just told you. I'm not here for the knitting patterns only. I'm designer at heart by education too, and I feel like I have other assets I can bring into the fiber arts community, and I will start with teaching you about photography. It's another passion I do have, and I started with knitting. You can profit from. I'm working on my first online class right now. It's kind of a match in heaven, and I also thought about solutions. Again, how can I make that happen? I can earn money. I don't have to invest money, and you can also profit from it without having to pay for it or without having to pay a lot for it. That's why I decided that I will really try to become a teacher on Skillshare, and it's in the working. I'm on a teacher channel on Skillshare, and I also just got into one-on-one coaching on Skillshare, so it's looking really good. And yeah, that's something I look very forward to. It's a lot of fun, and it's also a lot of hard work, steep learning curve in many ways. I hope you guys like that. So that's kind of a news announcement I wanted to make here too. What else? I think nothing. I feel like I've talked it all out. Right. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know it was a very different one. I try to do my best in all these things. Generally, I do believe change begins at home. I don't have a car. I have an electric bike. I try to raise my son, my white male son, which has turn out to be kind of a very bad word, very bad description. And I hope for him also that the social climate will change. I try to be good to you guys inside my community, and if you feel like you need a break from all the tension, I feel like as a European I do have the right to offer you holidays in Europe. Take a break from the topics that are so highly discussed. And yes, I heard that is a luxury you only have as a white person. I actually believe everybody has the right. Allow yourselves the freedom to just knit. Okay, sorry, that was another important one. It's the last one. That was another important one I really wanted to say because it's very close to my heart. Knitting is for me to relax but also to heal. And if you have all this tension around, it's hard to do that. Both relax and heal. So it is there to forget sometimes the trouble of this world, because there are a lot. There are also a lot in Europe. War in the Ukraine isn't far away. And that's heavy on my heart. Really is. Still another hard topic. Okay. Alright, so no, really, let's end it. Thanks for watching. I often forget this. I want to give a big shout out to my Patreons who help me with my financial problems and support me, and it's super important for me to have those guys, behind my back. If you want to support me in my adventures, I'm going to link the Patreon website. You can have a look around if you would like to be a member. I'm still new on YouTube. It's important for me to grow this one. Try to add with time more things here. Would be very happy if you support me here. This one really costs you nothing at all. Until next time, this is going to be still a monthly vlog, so I see you in a month again. Bye.